Guys, time to talk week 4 of the Caps Gaming Showcase. I'm No Sleeves 12. He's Scheckel. Sorry for the delay in it. We had, holiday stuff and whatnot, as you guys, I'm sure, did as well. So let's just jump right into it. What's going on, Shaq? Do you have a good holiday?
I did. How about you?
I can't complain. So, all right, let's discuss it. So we got some things to take care of first. Three more teams did drop out this week. Goodbye to Long Island Jam Boys, Gups, and yes sir, all teams were 0-3. So not really stunning. I think that we're going to see that a lot more as teams hit 0-3, 0-4. As you really kind of have to win at least 4 to make it. So not really much incentive for the guys to keep showing up on Saturday at 10. So I think that you're going to see that, unfortunately, as it continues. 10 teams are still 3-0. Only 5 will be undefeated at the end of this week. As of right now, no 3-0 team has played yet. And so the schedule for this week has also changed a little bit. Caps Gaming opened it up where you could play Thursday to Sunday again because of the holidays, but only 3 teams have played so far. And one of them being Montage Moment took a big fat forfeit. As I guess should we? I guess give a PSA, like guys. Make sure you're
Yeah.
playing the correct team. Don't play dad meat. If you guys weren't around, Nasher was streaming in front of 600 people, and the team that he was supposed to play didn't search. And the reason is they said that they were searching the same code, and they got another team. They got dad meat, and they played out that series, and didn't play their game. So just make sure you're playing the correct team, and that was bananas. So there might be a few forfeits this week. Again, it is the holidays. This one's a tough week for that, and so unfortunately, forfeits are not good for anyone. Obviously, just for the tournament itself. Again, now you're getting to the point where Montage Moment took a forfeit win, which I understand. It was already 11 p.m. and I think they gave them time as well.
They did.
Yeah, so there was nothing ill on their end, but they're now
I think
3-1.
there's only been like 8 matchups that have moved so far from the default time too.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you're going to see a ton tonight probably. But so they moved to 3-1, which is huge because again, they really just need to win 2 of the next 4 weeks to pretty much guarantee themselves a spot. So that's pretty good. Now, as the schedule is going to get tougher for them, they're going to play 3-1 teams next week. We'll have to see. But good for them for getting to 3-1.
If those leagues can get Arda to say that I suck, then I'm fine with that. Like, if you could make that happen.
So let's do what we do every week. Scheckel, break down some of the best matchups for us in week 4. We have a ton, but we're going to try and narrow them down to kind of the bigger ones. Again, as the Swiss format takes effect, we're going after the 3-0 teams right now, and we'll focus on them because some of them are going to have some playoff implications. And we'll start with one that isn't 3-0. Take it away, my man.
Yeah, there was a lot of good ones this week. It was tough to narrow it down. I think I had originally like 10 to 12 matchups that I wanted to talk about. So if you're not in this, I'm sorry. We had to break it down and focus on a few littler ones and not as many as them. So first one's going to be Forgotten versus Fantastic Boys. These are both 1 and 2 teams. This is not an easy draw for either team. You have the Hut Heroes, Mivians and Company, aka the Forgotten. They were definitely one of my dark horses to make the playoffs. They had a forfeit 1 week, so they really are only 1-1. But I thought they would do really well in this tournament. And they got a tough matchup against Fantastic Boys, who I thought would be in the playoffs as well. So we're going to see one of these teams go 1-3, and then they must win out to guarantee a playoff spot, which is doable. But if you have scheduling issues and have to take another forfeit, you're really going to have a huge hill to climb and got to have goal differential to make it. For the Forgotten, I would say I would pay attention to their goalie, Darcy Kemper. That's his gamer tag. That's not actually Darcy Kemper. His agent messed that up earlier this year in Twitter. If you were following him at all on Twitter, that was pretty funny. And then you have Greggy and his D partner. You must watch as well for Forgotten. Fantastic Boys is kind of known for their offensive cherry picking, especially with Haxby. So you got to look out for that. That's one of their main ways they score is by breakaways. For the Fantastic Boys, Chislett's been playing D for them, which he's been a winger in years past. So I'm surprised to see him back on D, when chemistry matters a lot this year. And Haxby and Chislett have always played together and have been a good duo. So I'm a little surprised by that, but we'll see what happens if they feel comfortable out of that, or maybe they're going to make a switch up. We'll see.
Fair enough, man. One thing I will say is that there's a few guys on that team that will be participating in the Montreal Canadiens tournament. I'll be curious to see if someone misses that or how it shakes out. Like, this could potentially be another forfeit for them, depending on how the day goes and whatnot. And they can't really afford it at this point. Going down 1-3, you're going to get some easy matchups, but you essentially have to win out to get back into, at least guaranteeing yourself a spot before you go into tie breaks and whatnot. So how do you think they're going to do? Like, what do you see as the win here?
If they play, I got Forgotten in 3.
I could see that as well. I think the Forgotten need to win. They're all very good, and I believe that as well. If the game does happen, I think Forgotten in 3 as well. All right, on to the next one, my man.
Yeah, we have Consistency versus 6 Cents. These are 2-1 teams. I did not expect 6 Cents to lose last week's matchup against Easy Work, and they were upset 0-2. So congrats to Easy Work. They're now a 3-0 team, but I did not expect that to happen. And then Consistency's loss only came to Composure in week 1. Both these teams should be playoff teams, so it kind of matters to set, I would say, more seeding in this matchup. I think both teams will make playoffs whether they win or lose. Not sure who's 6 Cents is putting in net. They've had Jim, who's a very good forward, play net last week, I believe. So maybe that was part of the reason they lost to Easy Work. I'm not 100% sure. Wasn't able to watch the series, but something to pay attention to is who's going to be in net for 6 Cents. They have just more recognizable names to me. I've played against these guys more. They have Bree, Jim, JLP, Dupe, etc. I think KA2 Good's on that team. A lot of names that I recognize more so than Consistency. And they have a lot of high-level sixes experience. So, unfortunately, I'm going to pick 6 Cents in 3 just because I don't know Consistency well enough.
I just looked over the roster as well again, and yeah, I would agree. I think that I agree with you. 6 Cents in 3 as well. Here,
All right.
Let's go on a new one. I'll take this one away. Unknown Talent versus Homeland Gaming. Both teams pretty even when looking over the rosters and how it's going out. And again, this is another one where it's like those middle tier teams. These are games that you have to win that will separate you because again, you go up 3-1. You essentially just have to go 500 for the rest of the tournament to make guarantee the playoffs. So this is a huge game for them because if you lose it now, 2-2 is not going to be a good spot. So it's a great test to see where they stand. Wingles had Homeland as a tier 4 team. You said that you disagree with them.
Yeah.
I agree. I know Revy. I know he's one of the better goaltenders in the tournament, and a good goalie in sixes, obviously, as you can attest to, is extremely, extremely important. Homeland's roster isn't terrible by any means, so it will be interesting to see if they can come through with this. They do practice quite a bit. They do scrim quite a bit as well, which you had mentioned prior to this. So again, that's super important as this goes along. We know. Insider info, but we know a few guys on top tier teams that are just not scrimming, and that might be, that might cause some issues down the road because teams that are going to lose games maybe that they shouldn't in the next few weeks, and because they just think they're going to coast into the playoffs, and I think that you're going to see that, as it goes on. Whereas these middle tier teams that just at least play, you only got to win best of 3s, so it's not out of the question where these guys, so hopefully that practice has paid off. BDR Malk was a very good goalie in 19, but yeah, who was in NHL 19. Haven't seen him much in 20, so it's someone we're gonna have to watch for in this series. And then opposite of him is Revy, who's a great goaltender. Plays in rough. I've actually met him. He's one of the first guys I met in the community. Super nice kid, and yeah, plays goalie in real life for. I know it's a college. I just can't remember what one it is. But yeah.
Isn't it in UMass?
Yeah, it's in UMass. I think I just can't remember what Boston school was.
Yeah.
But yeah, watched him last week when you guys played him. And he did well. So it will be interesting to see how Homeland does here. I think that they might be the favorites.
According to Wingle's tiers, Unknown Talent is I think tier 2. So if you're going by Wingle's tiers, I'd say Unknown Talent is a favorite here.
Who we gonna take? Who are you gonna take?
I got Homeland in 3.
Homeland in 3, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Homeland do well. Like I don't know why. I don't know why I want to see them do well. I think it's because of Revy.
Probably.
They've got Karma. Let's go on talent. No, I'll say Homeland in 3 as well. And I think you're right. I don't think that's a chalk call by any means.
No.
All right. So, give us another matchup, my man.
Yeah, the next one's going to be another 2-1 team matchup. It's going to be Dare Infinity versus BBB. This is definitely a matchup to pay attention to. It's got some storylines here. Nuge was the lefty for BBB. He's now on Infinity, and he was cut before this tournament after the last ESHL season from BBB. So he's definitely going to want to win this game, prove that they made the wrong choice. For BBB, you have K-Cut on right D. He is the person that provides the breakout for BBB. Carries the puck up a lot, helps the breakout, helps break it in, and will be part of the offense as well in the offensive zone. On defense, he does like to make runs for hits, leave passes open, and then go for hits right and time it well. So you got to be looking out for that. If you're Infinity, watch for him making runs at you. We saw Infinity struggle offensively last week. They should have a little bit easier time against BBB. They don't 0-5 trap as hard as Composure, so look for Rux to find some space. Look for Trabi and Gergs to hit him with a good pass in the slot. Look for space opening up for them as well. BBB's offense needs to start coming alive. Haven't seen them really gel in this tournament well enough against good teams, and that's Jemima, Sitful, and Bones. They need to start heating up. They need to start playing well if they want to make playoffs, because they should make playoffs still, but they might go down 2-2. One of these teams does go down 2-2.
That will, and not so much as bad it is that one of these teams is going to be 2-2. I think what hurts even more is that a 2-2 team like unknown talent or Homeland, whoever loses, that one has a potential where they can match up with them, and those are the random matchups that are like literally just going to make or break those borderline teams making it, because it's not so much that one of these teams now has to win out to essentially guarantee a spot, but now one of those middle tier teams that would normally play a middle tier because of how the format works for the same win-loss record gonna have to play BBB or Infinity. I think that the loser of this game is going to have a toxic dressing room.
Probably.
Like, I feel like the Discord of this one is gonna be rough regardless. I watched we did the Infinity and Composure feature game of the week, and Infinity played, I don't want to say better than Composure because they literally couldn't do anything. They couldn't get in the zone, but when they did, they controlled TOA and whatnot. And they still controlled the game. They just couldn't get anything through. They started using a lot of point shots. They had to revert to dump and chase. I don't know if BBB is going to just 5-man trap. Because I don't know, they don't do that normally as hard
that's not typically their style, and so
I know Bones is awfully flashy, so it would be curious to see that. I think that Infinity will win this as well, and I think it's gonna happen in 2. I don't know why.
Infinity too.
I think it's gonna be 1-goal games. For whatever reason, think Infinity wins in 2. Not because I think they're much better than BBB. I don't know. I just have a weird feeling about that.
I got Infinity in 3 because BBB can hold it down and trap hard and squeak out a 1-0 win, which they did last week against their opponent in Game 2 after losing Game 1. They were able to shut it down and hold the offense to no goals and only scored 1, so they can play that style. It's just not typical of them. So I think they'll do it at least for 1 game. That's why I got them.
I'll say this about BBB: there's just something about teams that win in overtime or have that constant win when they need to. And maybe they're overperforming, or they do better than people think they're going to do. But no, I think that there's something to it. I mean, BBB when they did win their ESHL championships. I mean, I watched their series and it was just the most intense. Overtime wins, obviously, for Bones and whatnot. So I could definitely see them. This is a huge matchup. Both of them, did not sound confident in the Discord because there was a lot of complaining about this series. And that's just a format. I don't think that anyone's out for anyone. But I think that they're both a little concerned that they've got to win against a very, very good team here. But for whatever reason, I just think Infinity will win in 2. They played very well against Composure, who is one of the best, if not, the highest rated team going into like the playoffs and whatnot. So we'll have to see how that goes. But a very, very, very good game and series to watch. So be sure to follow them on Twitter. And when if you guys want, again, I need to remind you guys, I have a list. If you go to my Twitter, there's a list that literally has every single Sixers team that's competing in it, so they can tweet out when they're playing and whatnot. So just watch out for that. I believe they're playing default time though.
Yeah, and you should add that into your description of the videos.
Yeah, for sure. I will add that list in. So, all right, let's go on to the next matchup, my man.
Yeah, we're getting into the 3-0 teams now. This next one's going to be Dahlia versus Prophecy. This is going to be another very close matchup and one that I definitely want to tune into. Hopefully I can. I think it's going to be a very, very tight defensive battle. We've already talked about Dahlia, but Prophecy is probably better individually. You'd probably look at the teams and pick Prophecy players over Dahlia. However, Dahlia plays a very tough system to play against. They have their system, they have their chemistry, and those things beat individual skill almost every time. So I think it's going to be a very tough game. If I am Prophecy, I do not want to go down first. I do want to score the first goal because Dahlia will play their slow trap game. And once you go down 1, it is very, very tough to come back. They're going to need Prophecy is going to need to use skills, pay bills and Deji to help break through that trap. Defensemen definitely have to help make good passes, make good runs in order to break a trap in this game. And then you also have great MP7 for Dahlia. He played really, really well last week. I know it was against Montage Moment, who isn't probably on Prophecy's level, and he'll need to perform really well to beat Prophecy.
For sure. Who do you think is going to win this one?
I have Dahlia in 3.
Dahlia in 3. All right. Prophecy's roster is loaded, and I'm super excited as this will be the featured game of the week on the Caps Gaming channel. I believe it is tonight at 10 p.m. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I'll get back to you on Twitter. But just be sure to watch the Caps Gaming Twitter feed and whatnot for that. But they will be the featured game of the week, and I'm kind of glad. I mean, Dahlia definitely made a bigger name for themselves among the community by beating Nasher's team last week, Montage Moment, and they did it as we predicted, and definitely in good fashion or impressive fashion. So they seem to be the real deal. One of these teams is going to go to 4-0. And like I said, Prophecy's roster is loaded, so that definitely will be one game to watch. Now, let's discuss the last one because it is the matchup to watch in both of our opinions. So take it away, buddy. Let's go over the last one.
Yeah, this one's probably, if you took a community vote of like who would be your number 1 ranked team, these two would probably be 1-2 on everyone's list. It's going to be Resilience and Composure. They both just made the finals of ESHL. This is a rematch of it. That series went 7, and 3 out of the 7 went to OT. Only 2 games were won by more than 1 goal. So it's going to be a very, very tight matchup. Composure put up a great wall against Infinity last week. They will try to do it again this week against Resilience. Resilience plays pretty passively defensively as well, can put up their own wall at the blue line. So I feel like this is going to be a very heavy neutral zone game with very limited chances. So when they get one, they will need to score. Look for Odie to clamp down again. He played really well last week. Offensively for Composure, look for Marco not to shoot 5-hole and be a main part of the offense for Composure. You got Jakku, who's very, very talented player playing wing for Resilience. And then you have Lemlin, Dowdy, and Rhodes, who will need to be very well defensively. Composure likes to make cuts towards the net. They need to look out for those. They need to stop those to help make Jones, who's Resilience goalie, make his life a lot easier between the pipes.
Fair enough. Who do you think wins this?
I have Composure in 3.
I do as well. I think that this is definitely a good litmus test for them to see early on, and it will be rough for the team if regardless of who loses this game, 3-1 teams next week are going to be in for a rude away. Can you imagine Montage Moment versus Composure or Resilience? That's the matchup we need to see. That's the content right there. All right, so that about does it. I mean, let's quickly off the top of your head, man. Let's discuss your matchup. You guys are playing the Phantoms this week. What do you think? Are you confident? Do you think it's give me your thoughts on it?
I wish we had our starting lineup for tonight. It's definitely a big matchup, 3-0. We're hoping to get everyone there with our 6. We did move it back to midnight, so we'll see if we get everyone. But no, it should be a good matchup. I think if we come out play well, we'll win it. But it's definitely a tough matchup for us. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Phantoms. I'm not. I think they're a good team, but we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, man. Don't tell me who you think's gonna win, but I would think that you guys do. I am curious to watch this one though, as it is another 3-0 squad. Where again, as this format kind of kicks in and takes into effect, the games are just gonna get better. As like next week, you're gonna have 4-0 teams. Like it's probably gonna be Entourage or Phantoms versus Composure, Resilience. Like that's a very high chance of that. So that'll be interesting to watch. Now, the one thing to mention is that because there's 5 teams that are going to go 4-0, that means one team next week is going to get a 4-0 squad at 3-1, and that's rough. Like that unfortunately does suck, but that is the format, and it is the correct format to do. So, no, man. So those are your biggest matchups for the week. Again, sorry for the late delay in the video. Won't happen again next week as we're back to regularly scheduled programming, guys. So check out the featured game of the week tonight. Again, just check out @Caps Gaming for all of the details there. And I will see you then with John Wayne as we call the action between Dahlia and Prophecy. One of those will go to 4-0 and be out in front as the season kicks along. So, Scheckel, thank you again for joining me, my dude. And we will see you guys after the weekend to give you guys the Week 4 recap. Have a good one, guys.